From the get-go, Michelle Fellman has a way of instantly making people feel comfortable in her presence. She exudes an endearing charm that doesn't make it hard to believe she works with others as a behavior and health counselor.
My name is Michelle Fellman, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I'm also, I work for Desert Mountain SELPA, and we provide counseling services for all the kids here at High Tech High who have IEPs. And so a large number of kids on my caseload actually are diagnosed with Asperger syndrome, so I work with them frequently. I have a real passion to help people and educate people understand them, and for them to understand themselves, because often they don't even understand why they do what they do, and they don't understand their own disorder, so I think it's important for them to have understanding.
Asperger syndrome is often looked at as a high-functioning version of autism. It makes it difficult for people to socially interact and understand others. One major difference between people with Asperger's and people without is the physiology of the mirror neuron area in the nervous system. This is a class of neurons in the frontal lobe of the brain that fire while observing someone and is critical for imitation. It makes us able to understand the meaning of others' actions by internalizing their behavior. This region is impaired for those with Asperger's. Asperger syndrome is considered a spectrum disorder and affects 2 to 6 children out of every 1,000. There is still no known cause.
So a spectrum disorder is characterized most significantly with troubles with social situations, where starting at a very young age, you can see spectrum disorder showing up in young infants with a lack of eye contact, with an inability to read facial expressions of other people. And then as they continue to develop, it becomes very difficult for kids to interact with others. They can't read social cues. They always feel kind of strange and isolated in social situations. And then in extreme cases on the spectrum, you have non-social kids who don't speak or interact at all and are highly stimulated by the social environment, sounds, noises, sights, lights, things like that.
In addition, Asperger's patients also have high levels of dopamine, which cause them to become fixated on things that they find joy in. It can often lead to obsessive behavior. While there is no known cure for Asperger's, there is a wide range of holistic treatments that can be used to manage symptoms of Asperger's.
One of the I think, most common ways is to get some of these kids into social groups. A lot of times speech and language professionals or counseling professionals like myself will have social groups where you kind of have the kids in a group and you begin to teach them social skills, social pragmatics of understanding what the other person's body language is saying, starting to have some understanding about tone of speech, and begin to model in a group about how to pay attention to the other and give them an opportunity to start doing that, and that seems to be really successful for a lot of kids. And then some of the other things you see with Asperger's is high levels of anxiety, so using cognitive behavioral therapy to teach them to kind of manage some of those anxiety symptoms as well. And then there's also a lot of impulsive behavior, so again, having some very clear behavioral interventions. And with Asperger's kids, you really want to be very clear and direct because, again, the best way to communicate with them is in a really clear, direct way.
Recently, Asperger's was officially taken off the DSM-V, the Psychiatric Bible, as a diagnosis. Although this controversial decision has led to a mix of emotions, most people agree it's hopeful that the Asperger's community will benefit from it.
I think what was starting to happen is with autism and Asperger's and the other spectrum disorders is that people were starting to kind of separate them out, and then it was kind of hard to know what kind of services to give the different types of disorders, so to speak. And so they kind of made this autistic spectrum disorder as a generalizing diagnosis. And I think it will be useful because now I think Asperger's kids who maybe wouldn't qualify for services, because people seem to think that Asperger's is a lesser version of autism, although it really isn't. It's a different diagnosis. But now I think those kids will be able to get more services which they need. So I think it'll be a useful change.
And although a future cure is unlikely, there is hope that the world will acquire more knowledge on Asperger's patients and learn to accept them as they are.
I don't think there will be a cure, and I think it's going to be something that we're going to have to learn to live with and learn how to be with. And, Asperger's are going to challenge us to think a little differently.